Hi guys, it is another probably soon to be stormy Ides of March here in the end times in paradise. Beware the Ides of March and every other day here on Tuesday morning, March 15th, 2016. And so while I guess the rest of the country's attention is riveted on whether I don't know, a billionaire racist or one of the architects of the New World Order will be our next president, I'm going to be bringing you my weekly conspiracy wacko roundup rant, where each Tuesday I look into what's on the minds of the conspiracy wackos. And I'm here to talk, I guess, today about space aliens and Bigfoot, which of course have been on the minds of conspiracy wackos for decades. And guys, before I go any farther, I want you to know that I don't rule out space aliens or Bigfoot completely. But let's look at really about the only story showing up in the press this week. Several versions of this story, although none of them made it to the top 100 stories on Yahoo News. There's still several versions of this story about, I guess an article came out in Nature magazine, and it was talking about this latest study. This time, I think it was just 11 days ago now, is the latest time that astronomers, this is a team from Cornell University, using that big-ass radio telescope in Puerto Rico, not far from here, picking up these little blips from space, these regularly repeating blips from space. And I think an Australian university research team picked up some of these just a few months ago. I think they go all the way back to 1977, where these radio telescopes picking up these unexplainable little blips. Nobody, least of all the astronomers doing the research, have any clue what these things are. So they're scratching their heads with all of their theories from these things, but it makes no difference to the conspiracy wackos, and part of the blame for this has to be put on the lamestream media. This is just one thing. So you have this research coming out from these professional astronomers trying to figure out some anomaly coming out a telescope looking in some area of the sky about halfway across the damn universe. And what do you see as the headline? This one is from the Daily Mail in England. The Daily Mail is kind of halfway between the mainstream media and the whack job media. So what do you think the headline is? From, when was this? A couple of days ago. Are aliens trying to send us a message? Mysterious signals from a, quote, powerful exotic object, close quote, have been spotted repeatedly. So there you go. And you know, to be technically correct, these astronomers made the big blunder of saying that these signals appeared to be emanating from a powerful exotic object. But they're just wondering what kind of astronomical object is this. But don't worry, that this is all that they need. That's all they need. Is, I mean, you have to comb through the scientific literature to find these three words, powerful exotic object, And despite the fact that not one of these astronomers anywhere in this study is claiming on any single level that this powerful exotic object is a UFO, is a spaceship, that doesn't stop the conspiracy wackos. And if you stopped at the headline, you would probably think that's what astronomers were saying. Nowhere, even in the Daily Mail, can they find anybody claiming that these little blips are coming from a UFO. And so what was interesting about this, I stumbled on, is actually a YouTube, I believe from Russia Today, from RT, was reporting on this a few days ago. Not quite as bad as the Daily Mail, but leaving it open that these little blips were in fact coming from space aliens. I wish I had this YouTube. And so anyway, so I'm looking at that YouTube, and then how they do associated YouTubes along the right. And so when I called up this new YouTube from last week about this study, what comes up along the right hand side but it was all of these associated YouTubes talking, some of them talking about just the straight alien invasion. That they're not so much conspiracy wackos, they're just UFO wackos claiming that this is the latest evidence that the aliens are coming to get us. They're coming to get us. They're probably coming to get your guns. Or to get our gold, I think it is. They're coming to get our gold or our kryptonite. But a lot of these other associated videos to this story, according to the YouTube editors, are about this whole conspiracy theory of the faked UFO invasion. And it was funny, I clicked on one of these from a few years ago, and and in so many of these, which has been going on for decades, they were saying the proponents of the fake alien invasion are saying, just watch the mainstream media over the next few years, and you're going to see more and more articles talking about this disclosure that the aliens are either already here or knocking on the door, and that this disclosure is all a big fat lie from the New World Order. And it's paving the way, it's rolling out this fake alien invasion, apparently for the New World Order to cement the one world government. It wasn't, I think wasn't this basically the idea behind Independence Day, that the New World Order is trying to find an extraterrestrial enemy, trying to fake an extraterrestrial enemy so this whole planet will join together, and the New World Order will soon, whoever they are, will have the whole planet under their thumb, like a global one world army, for instance. And guys, I'm going to have to say that I am not 100% convinced that this isn't total unadulterated horseshit. There's plenty of people, fairly intelligent people out there prescribing to some variant of this fake alien invasion theme. Back when I was a space alien UFO wacko, and this was back in the mid '90s. For several years, I got stuck way too deep in this whole in this whole alien abduction, UFO invasion, all of this shit. I got way too deep in this stuff. Um, but one of the researchers that I ran across was a guy named Jacques Vallee, Vallee. This guy from France. If you remember the movie Close Encounters of the First Kind, he was the character in the French UFO researcher in that movie was based on this character. And Jacques Vallee has been saying for years that this is exactly what was coming down. That this horse shit, this horse shit alien invasion. He's been claiming for years, has several books about it. And of course this brings out the whole thing which I've talked about oftentimes here is the method and the motive, that in order to pull something off like this, they have to be able to do it, and they have to have a reason for doing it. And I am pretty much convinced by this point they do have the ability, that this mysterious they, certainly, if not now, within 5 years, they will have the ability to do this through this holographic technology. I mean, it's weird times on the planet. So I'm convinced enough. My old conspiracy theorist buddy Mark Dice was talking about this very same thing a couple of years ago. The technology to do this is in place. And so now the question is, if you do believe that, the question is, why would they? And of course, this is what I am not sold on. But you know, I'm open-minded enough to listen to their arguments of assuming they do have the technology to pull one of these things off, to make all of us clueless morons actually believe that the planet is being invaded by aliens, and we need to all band together as a planet. Is why would they want to do this? And that wouldn't be cheap. You know, it wouldn't be cheap to pull this damn thing off. Paul Krugman, my neighbor down the street here in St. Croix, he's actually, I think somewhat jokingly, you'll find several videos of Paul Krugman saying this would be a great way to kickstart the flagging global economy, gearing up this entire planet's defenses to respond to a fake alien invasion. I think he's joking, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure that Paul Krugman is joking about this. So I don't know, guys. As I say time and time and time again, we already have a one world government. It is called the global corporatocracy. Already has taken over this planet. Why do we need a damn invasion of space aliens to convince these clueless morons to enslave themselves to the New World Order when we're doing a completely fine job of it by buying all of their crap, their planet-eating crap, and using our credit cards and getting ourselves in debt, you know, up to our eyeballs, in order to do it. The New World Order does not need a bunch of goddamn space aliens coming in here to kill us all. They're doing a fine job without the aliens' help. So I'm not quite ready to buy this theory. But as I say, guys, I'm all ears. So put me on the fence. But I do believe that the technology is here today, or will be shortly enough. But I'm going to switch gears a little bit here, and this is a little bit of a segue into a new subject, but not as much as you would think. And this is looking at what Coast to Coast is up to today. So in the middle of all of this stuff about alien invasions and shit like this, I check in with Coast to Coast and find their headline, Supernatural Sasquatch, with a picture of Bigfoot standing in front of a UFO. There's plenty of whack jobs out there who think that Bigfoot actually is a space alien. And so what appealed to me about this episode of Coast to Coast, I guess it came out the day before, the night, was it Sunday night? Yeah, Sunday night. Their program, I didn't hear the program, I'm just reading the capsulized version of Sunday night's program, and it does give me a peek into the brain of a clueless moron, anti-science, conspiracy whack job. As much as anything, it just completely flabbergasts me. One of the main reasons I'm interested in all of this shit, these conspiracy wackos and Bigfoot and space aliens, is, and guys, as I've said before, I am on the fence about Bigfoot. I have enough wackiness in my own brain. I do not 100% discount Bigfoot, but until we actually have a dead body on the autopsy table, I'm going to stay on the fence. That's what it's going to take at this point. Kind of like the thing with the space aliens. But anyway, I'm fascinated by how intelligent, college-educated, articulate people can take the most tiny, little bitty germ of fact, such as this latest study about these little blips on these from these deep outer space, and blow this up in their minds, how they can conflate the tiniest little kernel of fact and blow it up into these wild theories. And I have to say, this helps me. So what was going on Sunday night for anybody trying to understand this phenomenon about intelligent people turning into clueless morons? I think there might be some help for you in this. For all 4 hours of Sunday's program, Coast to Coast welcomed 8th grade science teacher, paranormal researcher, and Bigfoot hunter Tom Powell to the show to talk about his years of study and the connections he has made between his Bigfoot research and other aspects of the unknown. I'm wondering if Tom Powell still has a job after coming on to Coast Sunday night. Powell described how he first became aware that the evidence for large, hairy hominids in North America was far more extensive than he first believed. Well, all he's got to do is look at a Donald Trump campaign to find evidence for large, hairy hominids in North America. Every time he thought he could dismiss the evidence, he said, quote, "The evidence was better than I realized," close quote, which only increased his interest. Okay, now we start to get to the nitty-gritty here. Although he teaches science, Powell does not believe that the Bigfoot enigma can be solved by using the methods of science alone. His opinion is that, quote, "It is anti-science, if anything," close quote. Science teacher Tom Powell's opinion is that Bigfoot research is anti-science, if anything. And I don't think there's a lot of people who would get behind that statement, me being one of them. And the reason for this is because the apparent intelligence of the entities does not allow researchers to be detached in their theories and observations. At one point in his research, Powell had to ask himself if he wanted scientific evidence or personal understanding, and decided that the only way to keep Bigfoot research meaningful was to attempt to understand it personally, even if what he found could not be proved to the scientific community, meaning a dead body on the autopsy table. So Powell, and so from adapting a statement from famed anomaly researcher John Quayle, he observed that, quote, "While you are studying them, they are studying you." All right, and from there, the high school science teacher, Powell, discussed the phenomenon of apparent telepathic communication between Sasquatch hunters and the beings themselves. Both say they have, I guess both, who is both? I guess the Bigfoot hunters and the Bigfoots themselves say that they have experienced this strange occurrence on multiple occasions in the wilderness. Powell uses messages he has received from Bigfoot to inform his research. One message he received telepathically from Bigfoot was, quote, "Quit trying to trick us," close quote. So he started to put away his camera equipment during expeditions, how convenient, and instead opened himself up to experience whatever would happen. And so I guess when he did this, he got further telepathic messages describing the Bigfoot Society and way of life, as well as the fact that Bigfoot would like to be called Sasquatch or forest people. And then, not surprisingly, later in the program, Powell discussed the parallels he sees between the Bigfoot enigma and other paranormal manifestations, drawing many comparisons between Sasquatch with UFO, close encounters, and alien abductions. There you go, guys. Let the 8th grade science teacher explain it as well as anyone. It is not science. It is anti-science, if anything. And as long as you're comfortable with that statement, that it is anti-science as much as anything, I guess you too can join the throngs of clueless morons looking at these tiny little kernels of fact out of some obscure astronomical research and conclude that either, depending on what camp you're in, the aliens are coming to get us, or the New World Order is getting ready to fake an alien invasion, or of course, if you're Stephen Greer, you can believe both. But anyway, enough of this. I don't know why I'm just so fascinated by clueless morons. I guess it's because I understand as much as anything, it is clueless morons that are bringing down this planet. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this week's Conspiracy Wacko Roundup Rant. And me and the little space alien dog are going to figure out what to do with the rest of our day here in the end times. And I will be back at you tomorrow with my more serious climate change meltdown roundup rant to see how this planet, with or without the help of clueless morons, but mainly with the help, is heading directly into a burning lake of fire. But that's tomorrow. For this rant, bye guys. Hi guys, it is another probably soon to be stormy Ides of March here in the end times in paradise. Beware the Ides of March and every other day here on Tuesday morning, March 15th, 2016. And so while I guess the rest of the country's attention is riveted on whether, I don't know, a billionaire racist or one of the architects of the New World Order will be our next president, I'm going to be bringing you my weekly Conspiracy Wacko Roundup rant, where each Tuesday I look into what's on the minds of the conspiracy wackos. And I'm here to talk, I guess, today about space aliens and Bigfoot, which of course have been on the minds of conspiracy wackos for decades. And guys, before I go any farther, I want you to know that I don't rule out space aliens or Bigfoot completely. But let's look at really about the only story showing up in the press this week. Several versions of this story, although none of them made it to the top 100 stories on Yahoo News. There's still several versions of this story about, I guess an article came out of England. The Daily Mail is kind of halfway between the mainstream media and the whack job media. So what do you think the headline is? From, when was this? A couple of days ago. Are aliens trying to send us a message? Mysterious signals from a, quote, powerful exotic object, close quote, have been spotted repeatedly. So there you go. And you know, to be technically correct, these astronomers made the big blunder in Nature magazine, and it was talking about this latest study. This time, I think it just was just 11 days ago now, is the latest time that astronomers, this is a team from Cornell University, using that big-ass radio telescope in Puerto Rico, not far from here, picking up these little blips from space, these regularly repeating blips from space. And I think an Australian university research team picked up some of these just a few months ago. I think they go all the way back to 1977, where these radio telescopes picking up these unexplainable little blips. Nobody, least of all the astronomers doing the research, have any clue what these things are. So they're scratching their heads with all of their theories from these things, but it makes no difference to the conspiracy wackos, and part of the blame for this has to be put on the lamestream media. This is just one thing. So you have this research coming out from these professional astronomers trying to figure out some anomaly coming out of a telescope looking in some area of the sky about halfway across the damn universe. And what do you see as the headline? This one is from the Daily Mail in